Hello, my name is Barbara Day, and we will be doing our worksheet number 6. So you can follow along with me on your copy. And we're starting with our first problem. And our first problem involves some tickets that are sold for a ride. And we are to find here, we're given the number of tickets sold, both child and adults, and we're given the cost of the child ticket and the cost of the adult ticket, and we are to pick the expression that we can use to find the number of child tickets that are sold. So here's what we're given. We're given here X, the child ticket, Y, the adult ticket. Child ticket costs $3 and the adult ticket costs $5. The sum of the tickets sold, or X plus Y, is 28. The amount of money collected for the tickets is $118. That means $3 times the price of a child ticket X plus $5 times the price of an adult ticket Y is equal to $118. So that's the expression that we should select. And if you look at your choices, that is answer D. Now, as always, as I go through these explanations, and if you find one that, if you find that the explanation is not sufficient and you still need some help, remember we are available to work with you on an individual basis. Okay, let's go to number 2. Number 2, we're given 2 people, Justin and Andy, and we're told that Justin worked 5 hours longer than Andy. That's longer than means a plus. That means if we take Andy's hours and add to 5, we get Justin, 5 hours longer. Together they work 59 hours. Now we are to select the equations that we can use to find how long each of them worked. So the equations would be J equal A plus 5. That's Andy working 5 hours longer than Justin. And the sum of the two workers, a J plus A, is equal to 59, which is here. And that would be answer B. Okay, let's go to our next question. Number 3. And it's very similar to the one we just went over, and it deals with hot dogs. Joey ate 13 more hot dogs than Kobayashi, that we'll call K, and Joey will call J. Now, 13 more again means adding. So Joey J equals K plus 13, because K has 13 more than J. We were given the sum of the hot dogs that they ate. Joey plus Kobayashi, 125 hot dogs. Now, so our 2 equations are J equal K plus 13, and J, the sum of the 2, J plus K, is 125, and that is answer D. Okay, let's go to number 4. Number 4, we're given an equation, D equal 95 minus 65T. And this equation represents the distance between Philadelphia and New York in miles. Now, what does this equation mean? Now, 65T, now T here is the time. So when we multiply, what do we multiply by time to get miles? Well, we multiply our speed in miles per hour. So miles per hour, which is the 65, times the T in hours would give you miles. So as you travel, you subtract in miles from your original distance and you getting closer to your destination. So what does how would you interpret this? And they gave you choices, and your choice would be that what? 95 represents the distance in miles between Philadelphia and New York. That's the 95. And we're subtracting the miles we're traveling. So the 65 then will represent the rate of speed the car is traveling. Okay, let's go to number 5. Number 5, you're given an equation and you to solve for x. 0.3x minus 4.2 is 0.75. So the first thing you want to do, because you want the x on the left side by itself, or you want the x isolated with the coefficient. Okay, so since this is minus, then we'll add the 4.2 to both sides of the equation. And remember that to keep an equation in balance, the operation that you do to the left side, you must do to the right side. So we add the 4.2, and on the left we get 0 minus a value and a plus the same value gives you 0. On the right side, 0.75 and 4.2 is 4.95. So we have 0.3x equal 4.95. Now, how do we solve for x? X has a coefficient 0.3. That means 0.3 multiplied times x. Opposite of multiplication is division, and we divide the 0.3x by 0.3, and we get x. X equal, well, it's 1x, but 1x is x. So 4.95 divided by 0.3, and notice this is the same thing as 49.5 divided by 3. Shift the decimal point one place in the numerator here and the denominator here. 49.5 over 3 is 16.5. Now this is a grid answer. So what you would do is, well, you can write the answer here in the first row, and that's just a guide so that you bubble it in right, because that's not what's checked on this. What is checked is what you actually bubble. So you have 1 here, so you bubble in 1 in the first column, and you bubble in 6 in the second column here, and you bubble a decimal point. Decimal point is here in the third column, and then you bubble the 5 in the fourth column, which is here. This is the 5. Okay. Now let's go to our next problem. Our next problem is, which set of ordered pairs of functions? Now you're given a set of ordered pairs, and you're to pick out the ones that are function. Now remember, when you're given a set of ordered pairs, the functions are the ones in which x is not repeated. You cannot repeat. Y doesn't matter. All your y values could be the same in the pairs, but your x values must not repeat. So when you look at your choices, the only one where all the x values are different is B. And B, if you look, and remember, x comes before y, right? So in your pair, you have x and then y. So the different x values are 2, 5, 3, and 7. So your answer is B. Just remember, your x values cannot be repeated in the series of pairs. Number 7, function problem. Substitution of the variable. We want to find f of x for this expression, and where x is a -3. What this means is wherever you see that x, you want to put a -3. So you want to put a -3 here, and you will put a -3 here with the 5 a -3 here. Now, so f of 3 would be 4 times, and it's x squared, so it would be -3 squared. And 5x would be 5 times a -3. Now, let's just multiply. -3 times -3, which is -3 squared, give you a 9. And -5 times -3 gives you a +15. So you have 4 times 9 is 36, plus 15 plus 6 is 51 plus 6, and that's 57. So that's answer D on your worksheet. Okay, let's go to number 8. Number 8, we have employees. We're selling televisions. They are getting paid $100 a day plus $40 for every television sold, and that's represented by T. So they're getting a fixed pay of $100. And number 8, you were given a series of choices, and you to pick out the expression that represents this. So the expression would be 40 times the television sold plus the $100 a day, which is the fixed amount. Okay, so that answer is C. Okay, let's go to number 9. Number 9, we are really defining an angle. So the problem says 2 rays that share a common endpoint. Okay, so 2 rays that share a common endpoint, like here, you have a ray here, and then you have the common endpoint here. Over here, you have a ray here, and then you have the common endpoint here. So answer is D. 2 rays that share a common endpoint form an angle. All right, let's go to number 10. 10 is the definition of a circle. Here we have a circle, and a circle has a point here in the middle, and then it has points along the outside of the circle. Now, the set of points outside are an equidistance from this center point. So that's the definition of a circle. The set of points that are all in equidistance from a point, and that is D of your choices. Okay, let's go to number 11. Number 11 is a density problem. Density equals mass over volume that we have here. And I think I gave it to you on one of your sheets. And density equal M over V. Mass or weight is given in pounds here, 1,904. And the volume is 64 cubic feet. So we substitute M and V and divide this out, and we get 61 pounds per cubic foot. Now, this is a grid problem, so we want to put 61 in the grid. Let's show you how you do that. So we put the 61 here just as a guide for us, but you must bubble it in the columns. So you've got 6 here, and then you've got 1 here. Okay, so that's your answer in the grid. Okay, now the next problem is also a density problem, but what is it asking you to solve for? They're asking you to solve for mass. So if density is mass over volume, and we want to find mass, we multiply both sides of our equation by volume, V, and we get V times D on the left. On the right, V over V multiplied and V divided, V over V is 1, so that's equal to M. Then we substitute in the formula the volume, 3-dimensional, 250 cubic centimeters, times the density in grams per cubic centimeter, and that gives us our mass, which is 235 grams. And that answer is B on your worksheet. Number 13. Number 13 asks you to find the volume of a cylinder. And that's on your reference sheet that you'll have when you do your official test. But the formula for the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. Now, since none of the answers contain pi, we know we're not using that 3.14. We're leaving pi as it is, not substituting the value there. So if we substitute in the formula, pi r squared, the radius 5, so that's 5 squared times 7. Now 5 squared is 25. 25 times 7 is 175. So our volume is 175 pi cubic inches. And that answer is C on your worksheet. Now, let's go to 14. 14 is dealing with population density. And I gave you the formula here. Population density is population divided by area. Now, population density is usually given in people per, population is the number of people per square mile. So that means you have to have population and you have to have area. Now, in this problem, we're given population and we're given density, and we're asked to calculate the area. So we have population density. We multiply this by A, this equation, and we get population density times A is equal to the population. Then we divide both sides of the equation by population D, and we get area equals P divided by population D. So the left side, that's a 1A, which is A. Then A, the area, is population divided by population density. So what we have here is what? Substitute in the population, and this was New York, 19,378,102 people, and the population density is for 11.2 people per square mile, and our area then comes out in square miles, 47,136 square miles, which is answer C. Well, that's 47,126 square miles, okay? Now let's go to 15. 15, we have a ladder leaning against a house, and we know how far the house against a windowsill of the house. So we know how far up the windowsill is from the ground, and we know the distance of the base of the ladder to the house. So we label this, here's our ladder, is the distance from the ground to the windowsill where the ladder is propped. And here is the distance from the ladder to the house. Now, this is a Pythagorean problem, and we're looking for C here, and that's called the hypotenuse, or the longest side. So we use the Pythagorean equation, C squared equal A squared plus B squared. Now, doesn't matter which one you call A or B. We have a 12 and a 5, so we'll just call this A, 12 squared plus 5 squared. All right? Now, 12 squared is 144, 5 squared is 25. We add these, we get 169. So C squared is 169. Now, if you take the square root of both sides, the square root of a square just gives you the variable. Or if it was the square root of a number squared, it would just give you the number. Now, the square root of c squared is just c. And the square root of 169 is 13. So the answer is A, 13. Okay, let's go to our next problem. 16, which is also a Pythagorean problem. It's a different problem. You have two college roommates who are driving from college but traveling in different directions. One is going south and one is going west. Now, if we look at this direction diagram, you have north, the south, and you have north to west. Now, this gives us a triangle, and we can apply our Pythagorean theorem, but notice they said they're traveling at a rate of 25 miles per hour and 45 miles per hour. But the problem asks us, how far apart are they at the end of 2 hours? So we have to multiply our 2 hours by 45, we get 90, and 2 hours times 25 will give us 50. And that's what we will substitute in our Pythagorean. Okay, so we have 90 squared, c squared equal 90 squared plus 50 squared. 90 squared is 8,100, and 50 squared is 2,500. When we add those together, we get 10,600. Again, we take the square root of both sides. Square root of c squared is c, and the square root of 10,600 is 102.956 miles. It rounds to 103, and that answer is C. That answer is C on your worksheet. Okay, let's go to our next problems. And here we're given a series of times of some sprinters, and the time is given in seconds, and we'll define mean, mode, median, and range. Now, we know how we find mean. We add up all the times and divide by the number of times. So if you look here, you have what? 10 times. So when we add them up, we get 701.5. We divide by 10, we get 70.15, which you could round to 70.2. Now, 18, what was the most frequent time? That is the one that appears the most. The one appears more than any other. Now, if you look up here, you see what? 78.2 here and 78.2. It appears 2 times. No other value appears 2 times or more. So the mode is 78.2. Now, what is the range? Range is the highest value minus the lowest value. So the highest value is 98.2. The lowest value is 48.7, and you subtract, you get 49.5. Okay, now what is the median? The median is the midpoint. Now, for an odd number of items, one number is in the middle. For an even number, you get the average of the 2 numbers in the middle, but you must put them in either increasing or decreasing order. Now, here they are in increasing order. Now, we had what, 10 items? That means 2 items in the middle, and you see them right here, 73.5 and 74.8. Add those together, divide by 2, which you see being done right here. 148.3 divided by 2, and the median is 74.2. Okay, now, okay, all right, that's the last problem. Okay, so I thank you for sharing, and just remember, if there are still some things you don't understand in this worksheet, we can work with you individually on it. Okay, just let me know and we'll go over it. So Thank you for sharing, and we'll see you on the next worksheet.